The year is 1939 and World War II had just begun. Nazi Germany, under command of Adolf Hitler, had taken Poland and was soon planning to invade France. However, they needed something important and vital to the war effort: Swedish iron.
Ich habe mich daher nun entschlossen, mit Polen in der gleichen Sprache zu reden, mit der Polen uns seit
I therefore resolve to speak to Poland in the same language in which Poland has addressed us for such a long time.
Shortly after the invasion of Poland, a plan was set into place. Operation Weserübung, a codename for the invasion of Denmark and Norway in the beginning of World War II, was a plan to ensure the German previous loss in World War I would not repeat itself by ignoring the northern half of Europe. Strategically, the areas of Denmark and Norway were an excellent location for naval ports and to keep the German military's constant supply of Swedish iron ore that was vital to the German war effort. The German officials were concerned that the Allies would beat them to the major port of Narvik and cut off their iron supply. The Allies in turn saw a chance to block German fleets from getting to Norway through a blockade strategy. This is a more effective strategy than meeting the more experienced German troops on land, as they once did in World War I only 20 years prior. Operation Wilfried was the predecessor to Operation Weserübung in a way. The operation had to do with the German interest of Swedish iron as well. The plan, originally encouraged by Winston Churchill, was to intercept the German trade route from their iron reserves to the main mother country. There was one problem, however. By attacking in the waters outside Norway, the British were violating neutrality agreements between the two countries. The idea to fix this neutrality issue came from yet another operation proposed by Churchill, Operation Royal Marine, in which water and land mines were floated to German shorelines. These groups of ships were sent out as well as 4 destroyers to send mines to Norwegian coast to force the German ships to sail in international waters. At around the same time in Germany, Nicholas von Frankenhorst was told to plan a 5-hour invasion, which was quickly approved and planned. The first part of his plan, later to be called Weserübung, meaning Weser Day, was to attack Denmark, and which would lead to its second stage, which was to use its location to launch air, land, and sea attacks upon 6 of the major cities and ports in Norway, including Oslo, Bergen, Trondheim, Narvik, Enserud, and Kristiansand.
On the 6th of April 1940, 10 of our destroyers assembled in Bremerhaven when nobody knew what was going on. Our destroyers had a crew of 350 Navy personnel. And in addition to that, we got more than 200 mountaineers from a mountain division from Austria.
The invasion was about to commence. The first part of the Operation Witzburg Süd was held in secrecy, only discussed in hotels among top German officials, including intellectual leaders of the Third Reich, such as Dr. Goebbels and General Hofstadter, who influenced the theory of a Nordic race. The time is 4 a.m. Central European Time, as the order is received by higher command. The goal of the invasion was to take it as swift and unnoticeable as possible, and so an airborne assault was sent to Allenburg airfields, as well as a naval deployment of troops along the coast and coming from the south. The time is now 4:50 a.m. as the first clash between the two nations is about to occur in Loftofberg. A Danish anti-tank platoon finds itself face-to-face with the German invasion column. The Danish army quickly becomes overrun after being supported by a bicycle infantry team. The Germans continue their advancement toward their goal, Copenhagen. The German infantry ship, the Hasendattendaching, along with the icebreaker Stenten, had already arrived nearly 2 hours before the battles at the border. The Danish attempt to fight off the invasion force, but once again become overwhelmed and surrender to avoid provoking the powerful Germans who now occupied their country. The surrender was swift due to negotiations between the political leaders, such as Trovad Stunning, the prime minister, who proposed to stay as political leaders as long as they did not resist. The Germans were quick to accept because Denmark was not their main motive of attack. One Danish company, the 11th Battalion, refused to give up by order of its colonel, who considered the surrender forced upon the Danish government and was quickly exiled to Sweden. The overall invasion lasted 6 hours and was over before lunchtime. The Germans suffered 28 to 33 casualties, where the Danish only suffered 26. Witzenberg proper was about to commence. 6 days before the invasion was to begin, supply ships were sent to Norway in advance. On April 7th, the Allies became aware of the German intentions by accident while initiating plans for Operation Wilfred, just as the Germans began to travel to Norway. The first contact between the two happened on April 8th, one day before the Danish invasion and proclamation of Norway. The British destroyer, the HMS Glowworm and the HMS Renown, had come across two German destroyers, the Z-11 Bern von Arnim and the Z-18 Hans Ludemann. The Germans' destroyers fled and in the process sank the HMS Glowworm. This caused the plans for Operation Wilfred to be abandoned and used the 8 other ships to defend against the German invasion. The Germans avoided the pursuers due to translation of messages sent by the British command. April 8th. The operation has started. Quickly, outdated Norwegian forts are easily taken by use of German planes as well as a new technology just emerging for fast deployment, paratroopers. Norwegian defense is weak due to decisions by the Foreign Minister and Minister of Defense, Birger Ludenberg. Former Defense Minister Vidkun Quisling had made a secret pact with Germans to allow easy entry months before. Only about 10,000 German troops were used in the first wave of attack. German ships attempted to attack Oslo, but the Norwegians quickly fought back and sank the German ship the Blucher. This defeat delayed the attack on Oslo, allowing the king to flee. The Oslo airfield, however, is quickly taken just like the outdated forts, quickly and easily. Reinforcements arrive, and Oslo, along with the rest of Norway's major ports and cities, fall to German reign. By 12 o'clock, German troops marched victoriously through Oslo just as the northern city Trondheim was taken in peace. April 9th. German ships move toward Narvik in the north and meet Norwegian destroyers. After hours of battle, the Norwegian ships are defeated just as the Germans continue.
Norwegian didn't really resist because they were not sure where we the English or where we the Germans. And so they were hesitant, and we had an easy way to occupy Narvik and all the military outposts in the environment. There was no bloodshed and no casualty at all.
The occupation of Denmark and Norway would last up until the end of the war. The people of Denmark and Norway, however, did not give up easily to their new rulers. In Denmark, citizens helped Danish Jews travel to Sweden to ensure their safety. Some Danish police and Coast Guard were told to help in the Jewish manhunt, but many didn't. Over a period of a week, over 7,000 Jews escaped to Sweden due to the help from fellow people from Denmark. No one defended the Jews as heavily as the Danes did. Even Germans assisted the Danish escapees, such as German diplomat Georg Ferdinand Duckwitz, who worked for the Nazi Party and went to Copenhagen in 1939. He gradually began to hate the actions of the Nazis and in turn warned for mass deportation being planned by Hitler. He flew to Sweden to talk to the Swedish Prime Minister to take in Danish Jews and in the process saved over 8,000 people's lives. In addition, he limited the numbers that could be deported. The office he worked at was nicknamed the Office for Rescuing People. In Norway, small resistance groups formed to aid the destruction of ships like the Bismarck. Many Norwegians also aided in smuggling Jews into Norway and out of Sweden. Some resistance movements went as far as to destroy plans for a German nuclear program. More popularly, in the autumn of 1940, students at Oslo University began to wear paperclips on their clothing to symbolize their resistance and unity. The paperclips were also a Norwegian invention and in a way pulled together the broken country now occupied by Germany. They were later outlawed, but their legacy still stuck. We know that enduring peace cannot be bought at the cost of other people's freedom.